study session portion of tonight's meeting. Mr. Lavender, we'll turn it over to you. Actually, for roll call. So please, Mary, call the roll.
Okay, Mr. Hunt.
Here.
Mrs. Barrington.
Here.
And Mr. Hoff.
Here.
And Mr. Wilson.
Here. Now, Mr. Lavender.
Thank you, President Wilkie, governing board members. First presentation tonight is from our Vista Grande Key Club, who recently traveled to Atlanta, Georgia for the Key Club International Convention. I'm going to introduce Sergio, who's also our student of the month this month for Vista. Have him come forward and he can introduce his team to us as well. So Sergio, why don't you bring your team forward for your presentation,
Awesome.
Sir. And welcome to your team tonight.
Thank you. Do you just want me to introduce myself and then go down, or?
If they want to introduce themselves, please, but just, Sergio, I would introduce your first, last name, and what year. See, I know you're a senior.
Yes, sir.
And then what year and how many years you've been involved in Key Club, please.
Year I graduate, or?
How many years you've been involved in Key Club?
Okay. So my name is Sergio Aguilera. I've been doing Key Club for 4 years now. I am a senior as of this year. As a position with Key Club as of now, I am what is called the KCOM coordinator. I work with the district right now, and basically what I'm doing is I try to see how I can grow service around Arizona, New Mexico, and El Paso. So that's what I look over. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Lana Johnson. I'm a senior, and this is my second year in Key Club. I am bulletin editor at Vista Grande High School, and my job is just to make posts on the Instagram and promote our club.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm the Southwest District Bulletin Editor. My name is Angel Rios. My role is basically to promote district-wide events through social media like Instagram, TikTok, and work alongside the governor and the secretary treasurer to help lieutenant governors, which basically are students who are in charge of an area within Arizona, Texas, or or New Mexico. And basically we help them to make the most out of the year and help their clubs as much as they can. Thank you.
Sergio, why don't you introduce your advisor as well?
And our lovely advisor, Mia Khan. She is a incredible help. At our district convention, she actually got what was it called? What was it?
Susan B. Poland Award, Distinguished Advisor.
She got a Distinguished Advisor Award for, out of the whole entire Southwest District, all the clubs that we had, she was nominated for that award, which is incredible. She's put in so much effort into Key Club, and I'm going to be very honest. I would not be standing here today. I would not be doing what I'd be doing with Key Club if it wasn't for her pushing me out there and telling me that I could be able to be doing this stuff. I feel like they could echo the same thing. Is it okay? Cool. So I want to talk about a little bit what ICON is. So, all right. So ICON is clubs from all around the world, all key clubs from around the world, America, where else actually? The Philippines, Jamaica actually was there as well. And goodness gracious. I'm sorry. I'm a bit nervous. And throughout this international convention, what we did was we would elect a new international board. We would go through workshops, and what the bulk of our international convention was just conversating with other Key Club members and talking about what is it? I think it was just special because we got to see other people who liked exactly what we did, who appreciate the sentiment. I can't think of the words right now, but to see people who volunteer, go out in their communities and participate in the same way or even a higher level, and to see kids just my age who are doing these incredible things, it was very motivational and it was very inspiring. We're gonna go through more of what Key Club is. I don't want to ramble too much. So
Okay, so on our way there, we came to Vista Grande. It was around 4. We got there to Vista Grande at 3 a.m. and then we got at around 4 a.m. around the airport. I remember I was like really tired. It was myself, Sergio Lana, and then the lieutenant governor for this division, the Papago division, which includes Vista Grande and Union. Savannah Halbert, she's from Union. Unfortunately, she couldn't make it today. But once there, this was also my first time flying, so I was really nervous. As you can see in the photos, we were there, we were having a fun time, and then we stopped by Texas to pick up other students who were attending Icon at New Mexico, and then from there we went to Atlanta, and we arrived there. So I'm gonna go to the next one.
Yeah, you just press the arrow.
Okay. Oh, okay. So once we arrived, the hotel was really big. We got to see a lot of parts of Atlanta. And that photo where that people are there, those are people from the Kentucky district, from the Jamaica district, from oh my gosh, from all over the United States for sure. And then there was also um, from Canada as well. We got to see a lot of people, and we also met the international board as well. They were out there networking with other key clubbers. Now, overall, it was like a pretty nice start to it.
Okay, so then it became tour time, and some people from other clubs only went for 3 days, and then if you paid extra, you went for an extra 3 days. And then there was a tour which included World of Coke, the Georgia Aquarium, Olympic Park, MLK Museum, and the Civil Rights Museum. And then
So yeah, one of the stops we went to was World of Coke. We were able to learn like the history of Coca-Cola, kind of like also their secret recipe and how it's kept in this big safe. A lot of interesting stuff. We also got to taste and make our own Coke flavors. It was quite an experience. Some were really good, and then some were absolutely just not good. But it was really interesting because it was Coke's like these different branches of Cokes like around the world. Like they're only exclusive to certain areas like Brazil or some in like China or some, stuff like that. The Olympic. You want to talk about it? We didn't do it.
I mean, I could talk about the Olympic part. If for those that did not know, the Olympics was once held at Atlanta, Georgia, and we stopped there very briefly. We took a picture, of course, in front of the Olympic sign. But around here, this is where most of the attractions were. If we're going to talk about it further on, the Atlanta Aquarium, World of Coke, all the restaurants pretty much. And this is just pretty much the center hub of where we had our free time at. Now talking about the Georgia Aquarium,
I got it.
all right.
So the Georgia Aquarium, it's one of the, I'm pretty sure it's the largest aquarium in the United States and the 6th in the world. So those are a couple pictures I was taking there as well. We were able to see like a whole oh my gosh, different types of sea life, and it was really interesting. These are more pictures as well. It was really interesting to see just the different the different the diversity, the great diversity of the ocean and life. And then we also went to the MLK Memorial. It was quite an experience. We were able to learn the life of Martin Luther King Jr. And we also went through this experience where you basically were at a simulation where you were in was it like a dinner?
So you would put your hands down on a table, close your eyes, and then you put your headphones on, and you would go through this scene where some activists they'll sit down either on streets, restaurants where it's only white only, and that's how they protest. And what the audio is, it was just people harassing him, trying to make him leave, trying to make him get up, hitting him, assaulting him. And what they wanted you to do is try to keep your hands there and try to keep still, and it tried to make you feel what they had to go through whenever they were protesting for the rights. And it was extremely impactful. I had to say you have to go there to experience it, but yeah.
Then for the actual international convention, we'll get started. So we were able to do workshops, myself, Lana, and the district bulletin editor of the Michigan district, and then the webmaster of the Michigan district also worked with us to present that workshop. Sergio as well with the district governor, the Southwest district governor. They did their own workshop. We'll get right into it in a second. We also did a lot of networking. There was a lot of competitions for who had the most spirit. We won one of them. It was per session, and then we also had a service project with all the people who attended. And basically, what it was is we made these like blankets out of plastic bags, and it was it's kind of like a complex process, but I just so basically what it was, you get the bags and then you make like this string out of it and then you crochet it to make these blankets. And basically the purpose of that project was to donate it to homeless people, especially around the Atlanta area. I believe the organization is called Hope Through Soap. What they also do is they host like these showers for people, homeless people who aren't able to access that, so they can have like an opportunity to like experience like these basic needs that almost everyone has that they aren't able to have. And it was a pretty impactful service project. So I'll just go straight to the bulletin editor training. Her name was Dunya. That was the district bulletin editor of the Michigan district. And then the webmaster is Serena. We presented how to make the most out of social media, how to promote service projects and reach a wider audience, as well as how to make a website and how to make it visually appealing. And then I'll give you Sergio for the.
And for me, I hosted a presentation about how to develop an event, going through the team that you need for your event. If you need finances, actually, what is the purpose of your event, and then just the logistics. And I worked with District Governor Brandon to just break that down for our the people who attended. Actually, that's that's actually it.
Then those are a couple pictures. Sergio is the one with the yellow tie, and then Governor Brandon is the one on the other side. And then I'm with the lighter green color suit, and then Lana is the one with the darker green. And the one in the white that's Serena, and the one in the like this bluish blazer, that's Dunya. But yeah. Then we have Southwest District Awards. So we're gonna start off by Outstanding Advisor by Ms. Khan. She got recognized. Yeah. Then we had a Signature Project Award, and it was the pleasure.
It's a pleasure.
So throughout a year, what they do is whatever clubs does like the most impactful service project. In our case, this was our blood drives. We got the Diamond Distinguished Award. So we were really one of the outgoing clubs out of Key Club International. And then we got Outstanding Officers. So that was Governor Brandon Strange. The previous year, he served as district convention chair. So basically what it is, he plans district convention for the Southwest District, which includes the Arizona, New Mexico, and part of Texas. And then Riley McClure, she is now the district convention chair, but before that, she was a lieutenant governor for the area of McDowell Mountain, around that area. So key clubs around that area, she was in charge of, and she got distinguished officer for that. Then we also had the Most Spirit Award. So in that picture, you can see Sergio holding the trophy along with Governor Brandon. And our newly elected international president is David Rubina. He's from the Lookout Mountain area. So he's around the Phoenix metro area. So I just thought it would be worth mentioning because it's really interesting to have our international president of Key Club up here in Arizona.
And as we wrap this up, I also want to talk about the guests that came over to speak in our international convention. Throughout every single caucus, throughout the screaming, the Spirit, they invited speakers as well. Oh goodness gracious, extremely sorry. Apart from
All right.
yeah, sorry. What? I'm trying to think. I want to say how it's very inspiring because most of the stories they had the same thing. It was just like they started from nothing and how they built towards the future where they are now. We had Olympians, we had a Paralympian. We Ronnie Zuri, who's up there on the top left, she's the same age as us, and she's one of the youngest CEOs in America. What she did is that she wanted to give books to those who didn't have those books, and her dream was just to give it to one person. But as she continued on her dream, she noticed I can give it to schools, I can give it to multiple districts, I can give it to multiple states, and she just built on that dream. And these speakers, as they continue to speak, we have WB Sims. He used to be an international president, now a artist. It was really inspiring to see these people used to be where I'm at right now. I'm able to do exactly what they did if I put in the work. So again, as we went to the international convention, it was just inspiring to see all these different people and what they have done.
Well, thank you for your time. Thank you for having us here. International convention was such an experience, and we'd like to thank you for allowing us to present and sharing our experience. It was really impactful for all of us. But besides that, thank you. Do you guys have anything else?
You said it perfectly.
Got a few questions.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Anybody have any questions for them?
No.
I do. How many people actually were there? I mean, looked like a lot of people. Looked like you were having a lot of fun, but you were also very professional. I might add. You were looking all sharp there. So
My neck started hurting from the collars I kept on wearing. I don't.
Close to 1,000.
oof.
I have to say 1,000. Yeah, what Angel said, it's just 1,000. Especially from California. It's a very big district. But yeah, it's just a lot of different people.
That's awesome. This will be something you guys will remember for the rest of your lives. And I mean, your story just to us is inspiring to me, showing the excitement and what you've taken from it that you can now share with your peers. I think that's amazing.
I also wanted to add, I said this in the Kiwanis meeting, I just want to echo it right now. It just cemented what I wanted to do in life with me wanting to go into political sciences and just stuff like that, and to continue to serving my community outside that. Just to see all these different people and saying, I can do something by just serving my community. It just...
You're very enthusiastic. That's awesome.
It's incredible. I want to thank the people who sponsored us to go there. I feel like it was life-changing. I feel like...
Bottle his energy and you know, empower the city.
Did you get much time to look around the city?
Look around. We had a day when we got there and a day after the convention was over. So that's...
Get into underground Atlanta.
Underground?
You go down.
Underground?
This is shops down.
It's like a
Oh.
huge area full of shops and stuff.
I think yeah, we
Pretty
went through.
impressive.
When we went to eat, we were able to see a lot of the areas. It was really interesting. Like in front of the Coke Park, there was like this park, and there was a lot of people out there enjoying their time.
Awesome. Well, great job, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. That's
I
for sure.
appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Sergio, Lana, and Angel. One question I have, do you know what they mean now by a dry heat after spending time in Atlanta? And so Sergio, every Thursday morning, he's at the Kiwanis Club meeting at 7 o'clock here in our district office. So I wanted to spend a few minutes tonight going over our evaluation procedures and guidelines, and then the approval for our evaluation that we have to report to the state is on the agenda tonight, later to be approved. For those watching at home, you can access the PowerPoint through our district website. Through the PowerPoint is attached to the agenda for this part of the meeting. If you hand me my glasses. So one of the things we're trying to do is we're looking at our priorities that we adopted it in our mission of commitment to excellence. And number one is our culture of collective efficacy. And that is that shared belief that all of us working together will have the greatest impact on student achievement. And we know through research, that's the most effective strategy for student achievement. Our guaranteed and viable curriculum. We have state standards through the Common Core that we have to follow. And it's vitally important that we're teaching the standards that have been assigned to us. Our students are being assessed on those things. And then also the third is closing student learning gaps through guided by data and using data to figure out where our gaps are for our students, for our how teachers are teaching and those type of things, and using data to drive our academic improvement efforts. And that's part of this evaluation system. When we think of teaching through our 5D, we call it the 5D plus. There are 5 dimensions of teaching, and they're on the wheel there. Well, the one is the purpose. What is the purpose of the lesson? What are the standards being taught? What are our learning targets? What are our success criteria? And so that's the purpose of the lesson. So we look at the purpose. And then the second is student engagement. Our students need to be actively involved in learning. We know that we remember 10% of what we hear and 90% of what we do. So we need to get students actively doing things in the classroom. The next dimension is curriculum and pedagogy. Again, following our curriculum maps, our state standards, what teaching approaches are we using in there, and then using highly effective teaching strategies. As we're teaching, we need to assess that our students are learning the materials. And so when we talk about assessment, there's really 2 types of assessments. There's formative assessments, where we give assessments to inform decisions that we need to make as educators and teachers and PLCs. And there's summative assessments. A summative assessment would be like the ACT test or final exams, because most of the time after that test, that teacher is never going to see that student again in that classroom. Or if it's a final exam for algebra and the student passes, then they move on to geometry, algebra 2, trigonometry, calculus, and things like that. So that's a summative, just as a verification they knew it. So really what we're trying to do more is focus more on formative assessing to inform our teachers, our administration, our community on how our students are learning and how we can do that. And then the last thing is, you can have purpose, you can have student engagement, you can have a good curriculum, you can have assessment, but the classroom environment has to be conducive to learning. And that's really looking at the arrangement of the classroom, your procedures for the classroom. I choose the word procedures rather than rules, because procedures are how you do things. And we know through research that effective procedures eliminate discipline things, not rules. And so rules, so we talk about, and if you see a lot of students not raising their hand to talk out, then you really need to establish a procedure. When we speak in the classroom, we raise our hand and that. And then those are the 5 dimensions, but we also know there's a dimension of collaboration and communication, collaborating with your peers, collaborating with the administration, and then communication with parents, with students, and how we're performing. So that's the plus. And so we have an instructional framework, and the instructional framework is really what good teaching is. And if you can see there on the left, and then the font's down here kind of small for me too, but you have the subdimension, which is on the far left, which represents the big ideas of excellent teaching. You have the vision, which is what it looks like done in a highly effective way, what research says. And then you have guiding questions, and these guiding questions are used to inform and get us to that vision and that subdimension. So that's the instructional framework of the 5D. And then in the 5D, we have what is called an inquiry cycle. And the first part of the inquiry cycle is we examine evidence. Where are we currently at? Data-wise, what kind of trends are we seeing in the classroom, things like that. And then based on the evidence, then we say, all right, for improvement, we're going to determine a focus. And so that's the next step, is determining a focus for how we can improve. And then the third is implementation and support. And the implementation and support part is when the evaluator goes in, watches what the teacher's doing, supports them through coaching with them, providing some kind of professional learning for them. And then the fourth step is analyze impact. Because based on the three things we did, the analyzing the evidence, determining the focus, implementation, and support, what was the impact that we see? Because if we do A, we should be able to get the results for B. So those are the inquiry cycles, which I'll talk about the required inquiry cycles for teachers and that later. So again, the self-assess. And for the self-assess, we look at what kind of things are going on in the classroom. We can get data from students, we can get data from parents, but just the general feel of the classroom. And then we can look at our district learning goals, and we can look at how our students are performing on our learning goals. And then we can also assess where are we at in knowing the best practices of education. So that's that self-assessment where the teacher goes through and say, these are the things that I'm really doing well on, these are the things that I might be struggling on, and these are the things that I need support on. For then is determining a focus, where the principal and the teacher analyze the evidence and identify the area of focus. And usually we want to get big picture things and things that we can get a lot of improvement from. And then based on responses and the self-assessment, what's the area of focus? And then we need to make sure it's aligned to our district goals, our district curriculum, and where we're headed as a district. And then the implementation and support. And so you can see there, number one, you can see at the far left, which is the self-assessment. And then number two is determining the focus and the supplement. And then the third is implement and support. So you see the principal will go in, or the evaluator will go in on 3 different occasions and script a lesson for about 15 minutes. And then they will code the lesson based on the 5D instrument. And then they will talk to the teacher about things that they noticed, things that they're wondering about, what are things the teacher can do, and what is the teacher on the verge of. So we have the first visit, we talk about it, then we come back again. We have the second visit, we talk about it, and then we have the third visit and talk about it. And then we analyze the impact, which is number 4. So those 4 steps is what we would call a inquiry cycle. And then of course, when we analyze impact, we're looking for what are the results. Are we seeing, if we're, for example, one of the things we're focusing this year on is student talk and students' academic talk. Are we seeing more examples of students engaging in academic talk in the classroom? Is it more of a 50-50 talk ratio with teachers and students talking, or is it predominantly 90-95% of the teacher talking and 5% of the student? So that's the analyzing the impact. So this year, as a district, we are focusing on student talk, which is student engagement standard number 5, or indicator number 5. So you will see for this indicator, there are 4 different categories. One is unsatisfactory. And you can see there, as talk is dominated by the teacher and or a student is unrelated to the discipline. So students may be talking in a math class about history or talking about the football game Friday night. That's not considered student talk. So that's at an unsatisfactory level, which means we need to do something to get it up to a satisfactory level. The next level is basic, and you will notice the entire basic is highlighted, because this is considered a basic level, which is student talk is directed to the teacher. The talk reflects student-specific knowledge, and students do not provide evidence of their thinking. So in this case, in a math class, students may be given the teacher's answers. They may be given answers about math, but they are not providing evidence. That's at a basic level. We have students talking about math and that. So going to proficient, you will notice that not all of it is highlighted. What's highlighted in the proficient are the new things, where you'll see that student talks now is a mixture of teacher-student and student-to-student talk. So we have students talking to each other about math concepts. It reflects disciplines and ways of thinking. So now we have students explaining the ways they're thinking and provides evidence to support. So proficient, again, it could be student-to-student, student-to-teacher talk. They're providing ways of their thinking, and they're explaining their thinking. And one of the things we'll see in the 5D is unsatisfactory, basic, and proficient. We're really focusing on what the student is doing. Where in distinguished, we're now focusing on what the students are or what the teacher is doing for unsatisfactory, basic, and proficient. For distinguished, we're now focusing on what the students can do. And again, it just builds upon the basic and the proficient. If student talk is predominantly now student to student, talk reflects discipline-specific knowledge and ways of thinking. Students provide evidence to support their thinking, and students press on their thinking to expand ideas for themselves and others. So not only are the classroom talk predominantly student to students talking about math, students are pressing students on each other about their math concepts to go deeper into the learning. And so this is an example, and there are 30 indicators, but this year we're focusing on 5 of the indicators. And so now I'm kind of transitioning to what our evaluation looks like. There are 2 classifications of teachers. One are our non-continuing teachers. And these are teachers with less than 3 years of consecutive full-time employment with our school district. For teachers with less than 3 years, we're requiring 2 inquiry cycles. And I put the one on the board where you determine a focus, you have the 3 visits, you analyze the impact. So we're going through that cycle twice with those teachers. And then you have 1 cycle to be completed before November 15th, and the second one's at least 60 days later. So there's time between the first and second analyze impact. We would prefer that you have 3 inquiry cycles during the year, but time is limited and we may not get to 3. With our continuing teachers, again, these are teachers with 3 or more years of teaching in the district. We know these teachers. We know what they're capable of. 1 inquiry cycle is required and 2 is recommended, and that needs to be completed before April 15th. Why the November 15th deadline? Because if we're looking not to renew a teacher, there's procedural things that have to be done by, like, notifying the teacher before December 15th, putting them on a formal plan of improvement, giving them 45 days to improve before the April 15th deadline. So one of the things the state requires us to do is have a data component to our evaluation. This is the evaluation that we give information to the state. This is a separate evaluation than we do in the school district. And so in the school district, we're looking at the 5 indicators, scoring those indicators. Are they meeting expectations, which would be basic, proficient, or distinguished, or are they not meeting expectations? For the states, we also have to, we have to provide them data, to show data for teaching. So in our evaluation system, 80% of our scoring is based on the 5 indicators, which are on the right: student talk, collaboration with peers and administrators, communication with the school community, a school focus indicator, which each of our 3 schools have selected, and then a PLC focus indicator, which our PLC teams will be determining. So from that, we will score ourselves by the end of the year in those 5 areas. Unsatisfactory would be 0 points. Basic would be 2 points. Proficient would be 3 points. And distinguished would be 4. Again, 5 indicators, 4 points possible per, so it's 20 points possible on the evaluation that we do for the state. So if we have a teacher that's not performing at an adequate level and we're looking at non-renewal, we do things a little bit differently in that we need to complete an entire evaluation for them on all 30 areas to make sure that we're looking at the complete picture when we make a recommendation for non-renewal. If the teacher's being recommending for renewal, we really want to focus on those 5 areas and get the most growth out of those 5 areas, because it is very difficult to focus growth on all 30 areas. So again, by December 15th, the teacher must receive a notice of inadequate performance. They have 45 days to improve the ranking because April 15th, and so they have to at least be to the basic level by April 15th. And again, our performance pay system is teachers that receive a satisfactory evaluation get a $1,000 bonus, and that's through the 301 funds that require them there to be a performance component there, and that's been the consistent what we did last year as well. Again, teachers have 45 instructional days to perform their performance. If the teacher thinks that the evaluator has not evaluated them in a fair and just manner, they can appeal to Mrs. Daniels, our executive director for academics, and she can go in and evaluate them too. So reporting to the data to the Arizona Department of Education, again, 20% is our academic performance and 80% is our teacher evaluation of those 5 areas. One of the challenges in determining data for teachers is this: there are a lot of components, and there are a lot of things that go into the component and things like this. And so if you look at data and you don't look at all of the components of data, we can judge teachers unfairly by the data. For example, if we have a teacher that has an advanced group of students and we see high test scores and we assume the teacher's doing a great job because they have an advanced group of students, they came to them with high scores. And if we have a teacher teaching students with some learning disabilities and we see lower scores, they came to them with that. And so one of the examples that I try to use is if you say, Google, is Bill Belichick the GOAT, which is the greatest of all time of NFL coaches? Well, his overall record before the end of last season with the Patriots, it was 332 wins, 179 defeats, one of the best winning percentages in all time. He won 9 AFC championships, 5 more than any NFL coach has ever won. He won 6 Super Bowl championships. But the 9 AFC championships, the 6 Super Bowl championships, he had one quarterback, Tom Brady. His record with Tom Brady as his quarterback was 249-75, a 7.69 or 77% winning percentage. Now, you look at those numbers, 339, 9 AFC championships, 6 Super Bowls. He's obviously the most accomplished coach of all times. Look at his fingers. He's got a ring for every finger. He has the 6 Super Bowl rings. But when you take Tom Brady out of the equation, his record is 83 and 104, 45% winning. He won 30 playoff games with Tom Brady, and he won 1 playoff game without Tom Brady. And so this is the challenge we have with teaching in a data system that really works. And then you have teachers that teach math. You have teachers that teach reading, history, science, automotive. And to come up with systems for all that, when truly our focus is, as a district, is for kids to graduate college and career ready, and make sure our students are strong readers and strong math, because those are the big subjects for that. And so what we're proposing this year is we look at the IXL, which the board approved, and looking at grade equivalent scores. On the IXL, a perfect score would be 1,350, which is the 13th year halfway through college. So it's equivalent to being through your first semester of your freshman year of college when you score that. Seniors, grade level heading into for seniors when they graduate, grade level would be a score of 1,300, which means they're ready to step into Arizona State University or Grand Canyon University. Juniors, it would be 1,200. It means they're ready for their senior year. I named the schools that have high standards. Sophomores, 1,100. And I just read on Forbes this weekend that ASU was ranked the #1 high school college in Arizona. Sophomores, 1,100, and freshmen, 10,000. And so these would be grade equivalent scores that we're looking at. And as you can see, each grade level goes up 100 points. So so on IXL, if our students are maintaining grade level, they need to increase 100 points per year to get there. Now, we just took our pretest, and 75 to 80% of our students were not at grade level. And so they're not at those scores. We had some that already hit 1,350, and they're going to be exempt for the rest of the year. For growth points, they're going to get 150 growth points because they hit the maximum score on the system. So looking at that. So again, the academics performance is each teacher is assigned a 2.5 class, which is a homeroom. They are responsible for that homeroom of monitoring student progress through IXL this year, and also monitoring where the students are going for support time, whether they're going to their math classes when they need math, or English classes when they need English, or are they going to make up a science test they need to make up. And so at the end of the year, we take a pre-test, which we've already done for the IXL. We'll take a mid-year test in January. We'll take the end of the year test in May. We will look at the total growth number from August to May and determine a growth number for the year. And so let's say a teacher has 20 students in their class, then we'll take 20 students. Now, we're not going to include any students that were enrolled after August 30th, and we're not going to count any students that have more than 18 days of absences, because those are just variables that can really destroy academic performance, in which the teacher or the school doesn't have a whole lot of control over on absences and on students coming in after August 30th. And so there might be 20 students. You add up all the growth points, and then you divide, and then you come up with a score for the year. For students that have negative growth, they will be assigned a score of 0, not negative growth, because a lot of times negative growth is an indication that there are some issues going on, and that because typically students do not grow negatively throughout a year. So for our 5 points, remember there are 20 points for the evaluation, and there are 5 points for the data. If the teacher's average growth is 0, then they would receive 0 points. If the teacher's average growth is between 1 and 25 points, then they would receive 1 point. If the teacher's average growth is between 26 and 49 points, then they would receive 2 points. If they would receive between 50 and 75 points, they would receive 3 points. If they would receive between 80 and 119 points, they would receive 4, or 80% of the votes. And if they have an average growth of 120 or higher, they would receive 5 points. And so that's how we would figure that based on the growth. And in the sheet that I provided in your packet for the voting tonight, there are a couple other indicators in there. So the teachers who assigned a 2.5 class. Now, one of the things we heard is seniors. Seniors are difficult to motivate their senior year. They've already taken the ACT test in that. And so we know there are some tasks that we want seniors to complete. So we are offering a bonus point for teachers who have at least 10 seniors in their 2.5 class. And the bonus, they can earn 1 bonus point. So their score from 4 could go to 5, or 3 to 4, or 2 to 3, if 80% of their students complete an ECAP. Which is their education career action plan, which students are supposed to complete, and the schools get credits. The students complete the student form of their federal application, or FAFSA, the student portion, because we know that there are some parents that are reluctant to complete federal forms, and we don't want to assign consequences to the students or to the school if parents aren't comfortable completing those forms. Obviously, it's beneficial for parents to complete those forms because it allows for them to see they may qualify for student aid, Pell Grants, and things like that. They completed an application for a post-secondary college. They have filled in an application for the University of Arizona. See, I got it in there. Or CAC, or a skilled program, a welding class, or a medical type program. I'm trying to think of some of the names right now, but they're escaping me. They completed a practice job interview. On September 24th, we're setting up a task force to support seniors and things like that. And one of the things we want to do is have all our seniors do a practice job interview this year and give them feedback on interview techniques. Complete a resume, and having our students complete a resume, and obtain a letter of recommendation. So if they completed 80% of these steps, they could get a bonus point. Again, we have to submit to the Department of Education evaluation rankings. And what they ask for is what is on the right. They do not ask us for the name of teachers. All they ask us is how many teachers are in the highly effective category, how many are in the effective category, how many are in the developing category, and how many are in the ineffective category. They do not ask for names or schools. So we report it similar to that on the right. That's just an example. That is not any scoring that we done. So again, we have 20 points for the evaluation on those 4 areas, and then 5 points for the data, combined 25 points. So to be considered a highly effective teacher, we're saying the cutoff score of 21 to 25, an effective teacher 16 to 20, a developing teacher 11 to 15, and an ineffective teacher 0 to 10. most of our ineffective teachers are going to have an evaluation of unsatisfactory, and we're probably going to be recommending them not for renewal, because would be pretty hard to score 10 points. For example, if they got a 2 in each of their evaluation categories, that's 10. That's basic. And so again, investing in yourself is the best investment you will ever make. It will not only improve your way of life, it will also improve the lives around you. So we really want to invest this year with our teachers. This is a strength-based model that builds upon the things they're doing well and how they can get better through the terms of on the verge of, and really highlighting where they're at and how through the rubric and how they can improve. And also through the academic performance piece is really taking that IXL, which is really going to pinpoint for us where every one of our students is reading wise and math wise, and all of us working together to improve those scores. And if we could have an average growth of 125 this year across the board and all our teachers get 5, then we've done a really good job closing the gaps. And again, what we don't want to do is punish kids that are already high. And so that's why there's some components in there, because it will be harder for them to grow 100 points if they're already at grade level or above grade level and some of the things. So that's some of the things that's in that sheet that I provided you. So it's 6:17. So we got time for about 8 minutes of questions.
Jeff, I have a question.
Yes, sir, ma'am.
It was brought to my attention that not all teachers are assigned a 2.5. So how are they going to be evaluated and held accountable?
As far as I know, all teachers are assigned to 2.5. All classroom teachers, and we're talking classroom teachers. This isn't counselors in that, but should be all of our classroom teachers. If not, we need to get them assigned to one, because you're right. How would we do it?
Right.
So that would be news to
Different
me.
classes of teachers that do different types of classes that wouldn't apply to, or are they all supposed to have?
We have some self-contained classrooms, and so we're looking at that on a different scale.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just looking at the scale, because some of our students have a difficult time. All of these tests and assignments are online, and if they can't access online because of their own abilities and things like that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Levender. And if there's no other questions, then I think this wraps up this.
So what we're asking you tonight to vote on is to improve the system. We've already had the evaluation in place, and then approve how we would score and report them to the state. I will tell you that hasn't been done the last couple of years. It's one of the things that I've discovered is we have not been fulfilling that required criteria. And I think through COVID, it's just one of those things that got lost, but it is a requirement from the state that we provide this data to them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
With that, we will close the study session, and we have about 10 minutes before the regular meeting starts. So thank you.